Okay, we have your screen.
Okay, Ron asked me to do a short presentation and pick out a few of my pictures. And this is the Teddy Bear Nebula. It is SH2-171 in Cepheus. And I have a book that I always go to when I'm looking for something to image, because my telescope is only like 250 millimeters. So it's very wide angle. And I have a book that I really like called the Astrophotography Planner by Charles Bracken. His appendix in the back is a sensor field of view templates for the common focal lengths. And he suggests that you copy them to a transparency film, which works out great because it fits over his charts. And you can see what size your object is going to be. Anyway, the Teddy Bear Nebula, I did 52 300-second exposures for about 2.6 hours total time. It was captured on September 23rd and 24th out at GMARS. And the thing that really surprised me is looking at the teddy bear. You can see the shape of the head, but kind of between the ears on the forehead, a lot of people call that structure a skull. They think it looks like a skull. But to me, it looks like a big cat that's angry, because you can kind of see on the upper right. Oh, can you see the cursor? On it?
Yes.
If you come around here, to me, that looks like an ear that's kind of laid back, being an angry cat. You have the eye, then you come around the side of the head, and down here you've got the mouth open, and it almost looks like those stars are teeth. Then you've got the nose, and then if you travel up, you've kind of got a side view of the head. But there are many people who call it a skull. I like a big angry cat. But anyway, that is an emission nebula that it emits its own light in optical wavelengths. So it's I think it's interesting and it's different. I hadn't seen anybody else posting that on the Red Cat site or any of the SIR sites. And the next picture is IC 1805, which is the Heart Nebula, and IC 1828, the Soul Nebula, in Cassiopeia. That's 84 exposures, 300 seconds long, for about 4.2 hours of integration. Also taken out at GMARS over a couple of nights. It was processed in PixInsight with my normal workflow. Astrophotography is basically, once you go from a linear image, which basically means all of your information is shoved up against the left side of the histogram, and start to stretch it, it becomes art. So if you Google different DSO images on the computer, you'll see all sorts of different representations of colors and things. So because I used a triad filter has actually 4 bands: H alpha, H beta, O3, and S2. I kind of would like to take advantage of that. It's a really great filter for light pollution. So I get good images from my backyard. We're in Laverne at a Bortle 7. GMARS is a Bortle 4. So I found a video by Quiv. He's the lazy geek, called the Lazy Geek, and his video is called OSC, One Shot Color, Narrowband Processing, Easy Workflow in PixInsight. So I tried it, and I kind of like the way it came out, because it shows a little bit more different colors in it. If you're using all narrowband filters, I have seen more blue in it, which I think is represented by my kind of grayish color. So, you know, considering this is art, this is another version of the painting or whatever. So it's something that I will try on other images. Another good thing about astrophotography is when it's rainy, cloudy, you can take your data and revisit it as you learn more and more about the processing. So the next image is a throwback to November of 2019. This was taken when I was still using my Nikon 750 on a SkyGuider Pro, which only tracks RA. And it was processed in Deep Sky Stacker and Photoshop CS5. And I was so excited about this picture because I was relatively new and I was just starting to get some interesting results. And all the color in this of the Orion Nebula and Running Man, I was really excited. So I showed it to the friend who was helping me get started with the SkyGuider Pro. She looked at it and said, you know, the center of Orion shouldn't be so blown out. So that was a challenge. And Orion is a diffuse nebula and also an emission nebula. So the diffuse part is made up of gases and dust. And the emission nebula means that it has an aggregation of dust and gas that kind of lights up. It emits light waves. So anyway, that was a challenge. So in November of 2021, with my new setup, I got rid of a lot of that blown out center. So also I had learned a lot about processing and stuff. So this is picture that that I was able to get, and that was with an L Extreme dual band filter, and it was processed in PixInsight. And my current setup is a Red Cat 51 with an ASI 2600 MC Pro camera on a Rainbow Astro RST 135 mount, and I have an EAF and the guide scope and everything. And this was 160-second exposures, so it was 6 hours of integration. So that was one of my favorite pictures. But my favorite picture that I have managed to do is this one, which again shows the field of view you get with the Red Cat 51 and the 2600 camera. And this was done with no filter. The narrowband filters tend in regular processing to give you a lot of red. And I love this because the blue shows through for Running Man and the Horsehead Nebula. And the Horsehead Nebula is a dark nebula. It's very compacted dust and gases so that the light behind it doesn't come through it. But anyway, that is me, and that is nice and short. Thank you.
Very, very nice. That's really great. I'm surprised you can get such a good picture and the guys are not that dark.
Yeah, very beautiful.
Thank you.
This last one was taken at GMARS, I believe.
Yeah, I was at GMARS.
So at least it's a Bortle 4.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Totally inspiring. I love them. All the photos. That's great.
That's
Thank you.
amazing. You sell a copy of that? I mean, I would love to get this, put this in a frame and put it on my wall. I mean, the one that you're showing right now, it's unbelievable.
The resolution is just really sharp and all your photos really, but I agree the color range here is very exciting.
We actually sent this digital file to Kodak and had it printed by Kodak in 11 by 14.
Wow. Neat.
That was about $20 investment for that one picture.
Wow.
And I've also advocated that we send it to Astronomy Picture of the Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because the resolution is not super great because it is way undersampled with the little telescope and the camera, but I like it. It's fun.
You know about how many pictures you took for this?
That was 100 60-second pictures.
Wow. So let's see, 160 seconds,
An hour and a half.
an hour and a
Well,
half. Well, so yeah, this, wow, this is just amazing. It's just, to me, looking at a picture like this, I can compare it very easily to pictures that were taken, years ago by like the 100 or 200-inch Hubble, I'm sorry, Hale telescope, This is incredible.
Do you know about how many minutes of arc that would be across? It seems pretty wide angle.
Yeah, it's basically a 200. That's basically a 250 millimeter lens with a crop sensor camera.
This star right here is the left star of the belt of Orion.
Right.
So the belt goes off, up this way somewhere, and the sword comes down this way. So you can imagine how wide a field that is.
I think it's more than two moons, more than maybe about 3 or 4. But so if it's a moon, is what, about half a degree?
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah.
Gary,
yeah.
She can get easily get the entire Andromeda galaxy across that frame, and that's 5 degrees.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Have you had any problems with the Starlink satellites?
Fortunately, no. We
Okay.
have seen them going across the sky, but fortunately, I haven't been pointing at where they are. So
in taking that many pictures, you almost always have one or a few that have a satellite go across it.
Okay, sure.
Or an airplane. And in processing, you will throw those out so they don't affect the picture. Although in processing, they will decrease their impact a whole lot, but you can still see where they were.
Yeah.
I got you. Thank you.
There are a ton of satellites that go through the Orion Nebula constantly. If you image them, almost every frame has a satellite in it.
Okay.
And you know why?
Yeah, it's right where the geosynchronous satellites are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was doing a video one night with my Meade 8-inch SCT, and 4 of them flew through in formation.
Exactly. I was going to say the same thing. The first time I saw it, I thought it was hilarious. It's like, oh, wow, look, I got a satellite going across. Oh, and there's another one. And then there's like 5 more coming behind.
It's an invasion.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I thought that was bad until I saw the Starlink one night out at GMARS shortly after they launched a set. And I looked up and I saw it look in the northwest, and I said, oh, there's a satellite. And there's another, another, and another. Hey, they just keep coming. They're about 40.
Wow.
So far last year and this year, SpaceX has launched more than 2 times as much as the rest of the world combined into space, into orbit. I'll say orbit.
I know.
It's amazing. I mean, and that's considering that China's launched those big, huge honking modules to their space station. And I mean, those aren't, light. And SpaceX is more than double, China's and Europe's and Russia's mass and ULA's mass combined.
Yeah.
It's fun. I'm able to actually see their launches. That's what this is a picture of. It's one of the SpaceX launches. I can look out the window, like where we sit in the living room, and see the launches go up. So if it's the right time of night, I watch them on the way.
Oh, that's cool. Sounds like it's
Cheryl?
getting pretty crowded up there in space.
Yeah, no kidding.
I
That's
hope it
true.
doesn't come back to bite us one day.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. I agree.
Cheryl,
Yes,
is she still there?
yeah,
Oh,
I'm
hi,
here.
it's Laura. I'm sitting with Ron right now. So I have a
Uh-huh.
question. I love all the gas, and it was like brown. And was that like, do you experience using certain colors and you can bring out details like the gas in the back, in the foreground, I guess? Because I really am taken with all the gases in that photo.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
can
the
do-
dust and
yeah.
gas. That's
I'm still relatively new at PixInsight, but I'm learning more and more, and you can do some with hues and saturation. But I
Is
haven't.
that what you do for that? You get
No,
the
that one
detail?
I just trusted PixInsight, went through and then you tune things, you set the saturation and stuff like that.
Oh, well,
on-
maybe it's the contrast that attracts me to, you know, like details I normally don't pay attention to. But, and you choose which colors, right? Or you're
no.
limited by what?
Pretty much what the-
No, you're limited
by
by
the
what your
filters
camera
that you're
picks up.
using. By
And
what?
you're limited by what the camera picks up. The camera has RGB, so it's got twice as much green as it does the red or the blue.
Mhm.
So you can control some of that, but
Mhm.
this was no filter. If you put in one of the narrowband
You
filters,
said so.
you get more red. It turns Running Man red in my experience.
Wow. Well, that photo is really successful to me because I'm paying attention to details I don't normally pay attention to.
Great.
Well, thank you very much. Those are truly inspiring. You know, that's great stuff.
Thank you. And I was someone who said I was only going to do snapshots and I was never going to do calibration frames, and I'm doing the whole thing.
Right. Looking at the club.
I got that. I'm gonna have to snag that. I sent you mine as well.
There we
Okay.
go.
So yeah, we'll have to get in touch.